afternoon and welcome back to My Harlem Portraits, the show that aims at shedding a light on the fundamental contribution of African Americans to the building of this country and on Black excellence. Today we have a very special guest who is celebrating with us Women's History Month. She is a writer and actress who has performed on stage in independent films and television projects in New York, Los Angeles, Philadelphia. She's a graduate of NYU School of the Arts, a member of SAG-AFTRA and the Actors Equity Association, and the proud mom of one of the most accomplished, acclaimed, and loved contemporary artists, the beautiful and talented ALICIA KEYS. Welcome to My Harlem Portrait, Miss TERRIA JOSEPH.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I am so happy you made it because I know that today was a very busy day and you took the time anyway, so I'm really honored that you did that. So let's start. Go ahead.
You're welcome.
We start from the beginning here. You were born Teresa May Augello to Donna Jean and Joseph Little Joe Augello in 1950 in Detroit. You were the fourth of 9 children. Tell us a bit about your family and who or what inspired your journey from Detroit to the stages of New York.
Well, I was a middle child, always trying to get away from all the people. But at 12 years old, I noticed that there was a neighbor who just moved in down the street, 2 little kids. I was looking to make some money. I went up to her and asked her if I could babysit. Now, she happened to be a dance teacher, choreographer. I didn't know that, but she was really happy to meet me. And for the next, I was 12, I left for college. For the next 7 years, we formed a really good relationship. I babysat. She taught me dance. She brought me into the theater. My father was a radio actor, but still, that was something that was much different. And she's the one, when I was ready to go to school, she goes, you better go to New York, learn how to act, because you already know how to dance. And so I did.
That is fantastic. That tells you how things can happen in many different ways and in ways you don't expect at all. Life is very unexpected.
Yeah.
So you had also the support of your family when you decided to go to New York. And tell us about your beginnings in New York. How difficult and rewarding was it to land your first acting job? Do you remember what it was? Was it the one that brought you on tours in Italy?
It was my first job. And a friend of mine was in the show with me. Cafe La Mama was the producer. And she was also producing on the same bill, Richard Wesley's Black Terror. And so we went to Milan and Venice we were part of that festival. It was a festival, yeah. And it was so exciting because, first of all, we were doing Ed Bullen's It Has No Choice. And that's a small 1-act play having to do with a relationship between a white woman and a Black man. That was Basil and myself. Then, of course, Black Terror was a real steamy political, everybody was in, Black Power, and it was all that kind of stuff. I graduated in 72, 73. And so we went there, and it was very exciting because the people that were involved ended up being my friends for life. I had a lot of very interesting people. Allie Woods is a beautiful director who directed stuff. Sandra McLean was one of the actors in the other play. A lot of wonderful people were in that, and we had a good time. We had to press conferences, and we were always lauded, and people came in with little interpretation things in their ears and stuff. So when Basil was supposed to strangle me, people in the audience stood up and went, killer. Those Italians, they're very spicy, but it was great. It was my first experience. I thought, I am set for life. I'm just going to go to the top of the theatrical hill. There's no stopping me now.
That must be amazing. I mean, your first job to be on tour in Italy, which is your country of origin, you have your parents on top of it.
Exactly, yeah.
Was it your first time going to Italy?
It was my first time going to Europe at all. I'd never gone anywhere. My first flight was to New York, and the second time was going there. So, yeah, I was kind of a stay-at-home girl. We didn't have that kind of money.
Wonderful. It was meant to be. It
Yeah.
was waiting for you. This is wonderful. I didn't know it was that one. You played the role as a baroness in the Charlie Parker play Cold Blues, which was produced by a giant of Black theater, Mr. Woody King Jr. And this garnered you a Best Actress Adelco nomination. To talk about Adelco also, I want to interject that you and we met at the 51st Adelco Awards, where you were given another nomination and another award by Adelco, the Pioneer Award. So congratulations. And for those who don't know what Adelco is the audience development, and it's the only award existing for Black theater. So it's a very, very important organization. So how important was this for your career and for your personal growth to have to play this role and then to receive this nomination by the Adelco Awards?
Well, it was unbelievable. I did the same thing when they called me about the Pioneer Award. I said, are you sure you have the right number? Because it was always my opinion, my impression, that it was for and about Black people. And that's okay with me because there's only one of them, and yay. And I used to go a lot to support my friends who were nominated, to, applaud them for the things they had done in the theater, of which I was a part of. So I went, and I was kind of giggling to myself. I said, I'll never win this. They don't give these awards to people like me. I didn't win it, but it didn't matter. I had a sparkly dress on. We had a lot of fun. And this time around, when they called me again, I said, okay, all right. You're calling me? You're really calling me? They said, yes, TERRIA, please. You've given a lot to Black theater. Please come. And I did, and I was totally honored in every way.
It was a beautiful evening, and you gave us a beautiful speech. And I was talking to Jackie Jeffrey, who's the president, who is my best friend here. And she was telling me about that. She was telling me that you said, no, I don't want. And all you did for Black theater supporting, you're the only non-Black actress who's always in our plays and so on. What do you mean? So it's very,
that
very...
Jackie. Yeah,
that is Jackie. So I am told, and tell me a little bit more about working with Woody King Jr., because it's really...
Oh, yes. Yes, listen. When I first came to New York Theater and I was introduced to the people down at the New Federal, I didn't know anybody, but, I auditioned for everything. So it turned out to be a really long partnership, and one I was very honored to have, because after a while, I didn't even have to audition. Woody would say, would you like to do this? How about you do this? And you become that. And so it was really terrific. Now, when it came down to Cool Blues, I forgot who wrote it, but Ed Smith was the director. He's a aficionado of jazz. He knows everything about jazz music, and a really wonderful guy who I knew only in passing. We had never met each other. He never used me, so he wanted me to audition, so I did. I was really nervous about that because I said, ooh, Woody's not going to just put me in this. I'm going to have to audition. What if he doesn't like me? He liked me. We did it. It was great because, wow, Charlie Parker, the whole thing about the 50s and how they were treated so badly by everybody. And, you know, no surprise that they would try to find some peace and quiet and, you know, some kind of drugs or alcohol. And this guy was like mostly around a couple days before, and he passed away. So it was a very interesting collage of music and oppression, and the Baroness was just one of a couple of people on the music scene who wanted to help these guys. They didn't have a lot of money, so they might find some places for them to live. They might give them a stipend, try to get them out of jail if they're, you know, incorrectly incarcerated. And so she was kind of a hero. They tried to act like they were lovers. They weren't. She was just his sponsor. And she was so serious about it. And she didn't care what anybody said, because, you know, she was one of those people, had a lot of money, so people couldn't really tell her what to do.
Yes.
And it was a beautiful play. It was really a great experience for me. I can't ever tell you that anything was my favorite or anything that catapulted me anywhere, because I never really catapulted, but I was very honored. Very honored. It was a beautiful experience.
Wonderful. Well, I am told by a little bird that you have a couple of favorite projects that you've done. Tell us a little bit about them.
Well,
you did The Storm, and you did Women in the Pit. You did a lot of different projects.
Right, but yes, exactly. The Storm was something that was done by these people called Blessed Unrest. They did very intricate kind of plays. This was a Russian play. It had rain and water and all kinds of stuff going on. Drowning, you know, just amazing. I said, how are we ever going to do that? Well, I got to play this crazy Russian, and she was like, you know, knew everybody's business, and, you know, she was the one who knew everything. So it was very interesting because of the style in which we did it. And then at the National Black Theater Festival, the only play I ever did there was something called Woman in the Pit by Joyce Sylvester. And that was about a bishop who was a female Caucasian bishop, and a Black church was looking for a replacement for someone who had either left or passed away or something. And so they took resumes, and the woman never used her name, identify her as a female. So they hired her sight unseen. When she walks in the room, it's like, oh, because they were really down. They weren't interested in listening to any white woman talking about anything that the Lord had to say. But it, you know, turned out to be really interesting. Too many plots and turns and twists to explain, but wow, to get up there and preach a sermon was really, really, an amazing task.
And it was very difficult also, very.
Yeah, you have to go into a mindset of someone that you're not necessarily aligned with. And Joyce wrote a beautiful piece, Miss Sylvester. So it was a lot, but I did it. And a couple of family members came to North Carolina and saw it, a couple of sisters and a couple of nieces who lived nearby. And it was just one performance. That's it.
Oh, wow.
The other times at the National Black Theater Festival that I like to go to support my friends, see a lot of theater, and just have a good old time. It's kind of like a summer camp. So I used to read, like they would ask for volunteers. If anybody wants to read this play or read this play, I would do that. But Women of the Pit, that was the first one that I actually got to perform in the theater down there as part of the other shows that were being shown. And that's definitely favorite, yeah.
And that's a beautiful festival. I've been 3 times at the festival, and I'm going back this year. So if you're there, I'm gonna see you there.
Is it this fall? Because I know they only do it every 2 years, so I wasn't sure.
It's in August.
Yeah.
This August.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, because you see so much
It's
in
just alive with
yes.
art and theater and performing, and people are just happy, and we're running on a bus to get to go see this over there and that over there, and the city is very wonderful to you, and a lot of vendors with the Afrocentric things to buy and stuff. Love it.
Fantastic energy around there. The
Yeah,
only
yeah,
thing
yeah.
I don't like about it is the heat. I can take that heat is
It is in the summer. Yeah, you have to wear a lot of scarves and stuff. Yeah.
Oh my God, but that's good. So, what about your roles in TV and movies and your recent roles at MCS Studios and Theater Row? Which were
Well,
most rewarding or challenging?
that's huge. That's a huge question. But the ones that I like so much more is the 2 episodes I got to do for Empire on uh, with Lee Daniels' piece. And I have a funny story. I was in a car, phone rang. Oh no, my daughter was on the phone, and she said, "Somebody wants to speak to you." And I said, "Hello, Lee Daniels here." I said, "Hi, Lee," because I had done another show of his called Shadow Boxer, a film, which they still show in obscure places. I don't know, pay-per-view or something, about these assassins. And
Mhm.
I played like a drug mom. It was hysterical. First time I ever got shot and killed on film. It was fun. But so he called me back and said, "Would you like to do this? Because I'm not hiring your daughter unless you do it too." I said, "Yeah, yeah." It was all Hollywood talk. But I said, "Thank you. I'd be honored." I'd be honored, whatever you have for me. So that was a lot of fun. And it was a nice learning experience, because I'd never done a lot of episodic television, try none, or maybe, extra work or something like that, but never a role. So that was great.
You had
And
fun.
then, of course, at the school, the Matthew Corazine studio, I studied for over 10 years there. So there were a couple of plays that I got cast in. Maybe some of the actors wrote them, or maybe they wanted to put them together and put them on in the small theater. And that was a lot of fun. I loved it. The last one was done on Theater Row, actually, and it was called Piedmont Point. And I think they're going to go forward, I hope. But we did a couple of performances, not too many, maybe one full weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe like that. And it was about a retirement place in Florida. So we had, shorts on and flip-flops. It was great.
Fantastic. That's fun. I love the way you talk about theater. You look like a little kid in a chocolate store.
Yeah, and I love chocolate. Yeah, and I love theater. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
got
yeah.
it.
And then, yeah, yeah.
So tell us about your 2021 one woman show that you wrote and starred in.
Well, it was called Going Through Life with No Direction. And after I had presented it to my director, who was my teacher at MCS, he directed it for me. He said, "This is what it sounds like you've done. You've just gone through life with no particular direction. Things happen, you do them, you're happy, you go on." I said, "Yeah, that's pretty good." I don't know if it was very good for my career, but that's how it worked out. So, we rented 54 Below, and we tried to do it at my 70th, but then everything was closed down, couldn't do it. So then, you got to put a deposit down for these things. They're not free, and they're not going to give you your money back just because COVID's around. So they said, pick a day in 2020. We will open this. They hadn't reopened it all. We'll open it for like 25 friends. They got to wear everything. They got to have the protocols. They got to do this. They got to do that. And so I did it for a small group of friends. I think it went out well. I only did it once. So how can you remember? As an actor, the joy of improving with each performance is a particular joy for me. It's the first show is always like, what the hell did I do? Did I remember anything? what did I do? So I watched the video and it was like, I wanted to dig a hole and crawl in it. But, you're really hard on yourself. You get
Yes.
hard. And what was great about it was I had a beautiful pianist named Jimmy Roberts. His own play is opening at the end of the year that he's also spent like 13 years writing. He was my pianist, and wow, the best. And then my brother, who's a saxophonist and a singer, he came and did a little saxophone that introducing the part about my dad and the day he died and that kind of thing, because he was only 3 months old when my father died. He never even knew him.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was kind of magical that he would play this thing that he had designed. And then when I was talking about my mom and dad falling in love, he played the background of "It's Almost Like Being in Love" because they met in college. And my dad heard my mom singing, never met her before. He goes, "I'm going to marry that girl." That's what rumor has. I don't know if it's true. They did get married, and it's kind of a sweet story. And then my other girlfriend, who's an opera singer, she did a duet with me. And then another friend of mine who used to be a showgirl, Judy, she came on and put a wig on for me and did some other kind of stuff. And so it was a nice collaboration of friends.
That is a beautiful thing. It's time to do it again then.
I
It's
do. I have
done
to.
once,
I have to tighten it up and do it again. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I would like to be invited, okay?
You will be. That's a guarantee. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, this sounds really interesting and really romantic, and I love romantic stories. We need
Yeah.
positive energy, especially in this horrible period. And we leave it at that. I
Yeah.
don't want to go into details, but
No, you can't. We'll be crying by the end and no one will want to watch it.
very scary period.
Yeah.
So let's talk about in December 2023, your daughter, Alicia, made her debut as a composer and Broadway producer with her musical Hell's Kitchen, which is inspired by her childhood growing up in New York City in Hell's Kitchen. I saw it one of the first nights. I was crying. That show was so amazing, also because I've been many times in the building. I lived there a little bit because one of my friends, when I was looking for an apartment, let me stay at this place while he was touring in Europe, Chico Freeman. So,
Oh, I know that guy.
he was one of the best friends. So I know the place. So when I relived a lot of experience, it was beautiful, beautiful. The music,
Thank
the
you.
dancing, the choreography, everything. Yeah. And we don't know, of course, why. Okay, we know why. So your daughter, she told the New York Times that the show is a long-time dream she has shared with you. How does it feel to see the dream come true and moving through Broadway now already?
I can't believe it. I've dreamed my whole life about certain things like that happening. And then to see it really happening, especially to my daughter. And, she started this project without any permission of mine. And as it was getting, as it was forming, because she did have someone do the book and all that kind of stuff, without any contribution from me, contribution from me. And then all of a sudden she was saying, "Would you read this? This is something that I'm working on. You think this sounds true, or is it correct in terms of what you remember?" And so I read it and gave her some notes and stuff. I remember some years ago when she lived down on Crosby Street in Manhattan. Yeah. And then it just, she did a million things and then she would get back to it. She did a million things and she'd get back to it, of which I had no real idea about it because, she's a grown woman with a husband and children and I don't live with her. So just to have this happen for her and the fact that it's so different in terms of, people like to call it a jukebox musical, but it's not because she used her songs. But as you well know, different people sang them, different tempos were made. You know, Adam, what's his name? Blackstreet. What's Adam's last name? Blackstone, who did the music interpretation, supervision. You know yourself. It's like, who's going to sing this song? And all of a sudden, the father's singing that song. It's like, wow. But it all boils down to a love story between a mother and a daughter.
Yes.
And that, you know, the girl's only 17 and she's not a performer. It's just a girl in Manhattan Plaza in Hell's Kitchen figuring out what life is all about. You know, that kind of thing. By 17, Alicia was already out of the house and she started playing music when she was 7. And this woman, you know, actually started, you know, and the woman who plays her teacher in the show, Keisha Lewis, is like a combination of Alicia's grandmother, her real teacher, who was a white woman who lived in Manhattan Plaza, and then her teacher from PPAS, Professional Performing Arts School, who plays all the music up there, the one who turned around, the Black woman, she played everybody's music, because you know that piano on the stage was dead. They didn't play anything on the stage. That woman played everybody's pieces. And she said to me, wow, when Alicia asked me to do that, she said, she asked me to do learn the most difficult pieces in the shortest amount of time, scared me to death. And then at the opening of the public, she said to me, she changed my life. I had retired. She brought me out of retirement. She changed my life. And she's so happy to be up there. And that's the kind of stuff, like Alicia called me and said, do you have Miss Aziz's number? Because she needs to be involved. She does that. She's got a girl who's on the stage, the one who does the rapping. She was one of her people from The Voice. She was on her team from The Voice. Vanessa's been there the longest. And so, you know, it just isn't just like, yeah, here's the idea, put it together, make sure I get my check. She was at every audition. She was at everything where they were costume design. She was everywhere, because she says, my story, I got to make sure that it's told right. Loosely based on is what we all say. But that mother, so much like me, Shoshana Bean is so fabulous. Aziza, who does the music that I was just telling about, said to me one day, Terry, does Shoshana live with you? Because every time she speaks, I swear it's you. I said, I don't know. She's like a chameleon. I don't even know how to explain. But she is, to me, she's that driving force. You know, everybody is so great at it. Brandon Victor Dixon as the father. And what's her name? Malia Joy Moon, this is her first professional, you know, gig. What a girl, what a singer, what an energy. And every understudy is just as marvelous as the leads. It's an amazing thing.
It's a capolavoro, as we say in Italian.
Che è capolavoro?
Capolavoro is a masterpiece.
Yes, capolavoro.
Capolavoro.
Yes, it
Really
is a masterpiece. Yeah.
It really is. I was like, I could have seen it 10 times.
I did.
Managed
I did. Maybe 20. I don't know how many times I went, because it was just, and then when then they got hit with COVID. They had a lot of problems that I'm not sure the regular public knew about. But one night I went, and besides Shoshana and Brandon, they were all understudies, just about all understudies. And one time they had to close for a couple of days because the tech people got sick. They don't have understudies for tech. So they had to get some tech in there, show them what to do, and then go back on. It was amazing.
And it didn't matter, because it was a great success. And I've never seen a show going to Broadway so fast. From the theater.
I've never followed any of them. I've never really followed to know, but that was pretty fast.
That was very fast, very fast. You didn't even have the time to finish the show, the public, that you announced that it was going to Broadway. Come on. This is
Oh yeah, they got to finish it. They had a little time off, but not much.
not much, not much.
True, it's true.
Everything is so wonderful. So you have answered to my last question, really. How close is the show to the reality? And
Oh
tell us
yeah.
more about the cast. So what you can tell us is, when is the show starting on Broadway? Because we only have 2 minutes left anyway.
Okay. March 28th is the first preview. April 20th, opening night.
Opening night. And we have to go and see it. Do we have an ending time, or we don't know yet?
No, as long as people buy tickets, I expect and I hope. I want it to be like, oh, Hell's Kitchen still up there. Yay.
Good. I think this is going to be one of those staples on Broadway.
I hope so. There's a lot of really magical shows opening in this month. So it's going to be quite a vibrant Broadway season, I think. I'm happy to be part of it.
I managed to see before I go back to Italy. I'm going back on the 13th of April. So I hope I can manage to see it before. Otherwise,
oh, yeah.
Miss it. I want to see it again. I tried to see it again at the public, but it didn't happen.
Didn't work out. Didn't work out. Well, we'll try to make it happen, okay?
Absolutely. So, and you know that I've seen Alicia so many times. I've seen it in Italy at the Rotonda in Milano. I've seen her in France. I've seen her in many, many places, because she is one of my favorite artists. And I invested in a restaurant in Harlem in 2005 called Harlem Grill. And we opened with Alicia Keys' birthday party.
Get out! What year?
So you were probably there, 2005 or 2006, around that time.
Was it in Italy?
No, in Harlem. Harlem Grill.
Oh, Harlem. Oh, I don't think I don't know. It's too long ago.
It was fantastic. So, you know, she is my hero. And so thank you.
Wow.
Thank you for talking with us during Her Story Month, because we need more women in the places, in the decisionary places everywhere. So we were talking about the Broadway, the fact that it's going to Broadway, and I am going to wish you the best with this show, because this show is so amazing and so incredible, and I think it will be on Broadway forever. What do you want people to take home from this show when they see it?
If you put your mind to it, you could do anything. 1, 2, it takes a lot of work to do anything like this. So know that. And 3, it's always nice to spread a story that's about love between mom and daughter. Yeah. Usually they're against each other, or the boyfriend is the most important, or the father, or this. They're all there, as you know. But that, when they ended up, how they ended up at the end of the show, you said, okay, everybody learned something.
Yes.
Yeah.
What it did. It was a beautiful show.
Yeah.
So thank you again for being with us in this month, especially.
You're welcome.
Women's Her Story Month.
Yes.
With you and your daughter, who are 2 champions. I really love it. And I thank my viewers for being with us today. We'll see you next Saturday, 12:30 p.m. on Spectrum, channel 1993. And to see the past episodes of my show on my YouTube channel, My Harlem Portraits, Maria G. Cavenaghi. Thank you to Miss TERRIA Joseph for this beautiful talk we had, and we'll see you at the theater.
Yes, see you at the theater.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Goodbye, dear. It's lovely talking to you.